Hello, hello. Welcome to another Q&A live stream with me, Alex of Backpacking Brunette. Thank you for joining me on this Sunday night. If you are watching the replay of this live stream, then let me know in the comments below and tell me where you're from. If you're watching it live right now with me, say hi over in the comments in the chat. And let me know where you are tuning in from. Let's see. It says, we've got Michael is on the computer with this one instead of the TV, so you can actually see the chat for once. Love it. Hey, Jim. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, Ken. Where are you watching from? I am so excited. Oh, fireworks going off in the neighborhood here. I am so excited that you are tuning in for today's live stream. We are going to be chatting all about learning Spanish. How much Spanish do you really need to know when you move to Mexico? This is a very frequently asked question that I get from people. Oh, hey, John and Allison, tuning in from North Carolina. Glad to have you here. Thanks for watching. Like I was saying, this live stream is going to be all about learning Spanish. How much Spanish do you really need to know to move to Mexico? This is one of the most frequently asked questions I get from people planning on moving to Mexico, because the language thing, it can definitely be intimidating. And actually, even kind of preparing for this live stream today, I felt a little, to be totally honest with you, I felt a little bit more nervous than I usually do for live streams. And I think that's because this particular topic, Spanish, is one that is just so near and dear to my heart. It's something that I feel really passionately about. And it's just, thinking back with my own journey learning Spanish, it's just, it's hard not to get a little, I don't know, emotional, excited about it. So hopefully I can do this subject justice today, and you can walk away with some good tips to help you on your own language learning journey. So Miguel says that the audio sounds great. Thank you. I'm glad to hear it. And audio is very important. So I've got Taylor has the setup here for me, the blue snowball microphone. Thank you for tuning in, Joel. Thanks for being here. Jean is watching from Jupiter, Florida. Hey, Joe, glad you're here. Ron tuning in from the Bay Area. Hi, Olivia. Thanks for watching. Oh, so glad to have you all here. Yep. Taylor is going to be hanging out in the chat. He's over on the other side of our dining room right now. Really so grateful to have him behind the scenes. Yep, there he is. Hey there, JT. All right, so let's dive into this topic. Like I said, it is something that I feel very, very passionate about. And I'm guessing that you also feel passionately about learning Spanish, or, it's something that's been on your mind, on your heart, what have you. So if you have not yet signed up for the free 7 days of Spanish challenge, that's a challenge that I am running. It starts on August 16th. There's going to be a link in the description of this video, so that, I don't know if Taylor can maybe copy and paste that into the chat or something. It's freebies.backpackingbrunette.com/Spanish challenge. But that is a free challenge that I am running. It starts August 16th, and every single day you will be getting an email prompt to your inbox that will give you a prompt for how to practice reading in Spanish, writing in Spanish, listening in Spanish, and speaking in Spanish. I know that is a biggie for many of you. A lot of the comments that I got on my last video, I asked you to tell me what's your biggest struggle with Spanish? What do you know that you need to practice more, but you're having a hard time finding ways how to do so? And so many people said speaking in Spanish. So that's definitely one we are going to cover in the challenge, how to practice speaking in Spanish regardless of where you are in the world. So this Spanish challenge is for you wherever you are. So if you have not signed up yet, be sure to sign up for the free 7 days of Spanish challenge. That starts August 16th. Alrighty. Let's see. So let's go. Let's do this thing. Like I said, I don't know why I have been so, I don't know why I feel like a little nervous, like talking about this topic. How much Spanish do you really need to know to move to Mexico? I think it's because the answer is, it's a two-part answer is what it is. And I guess to be completely, perfectly honest with you, when it comes right down to it, how much Spanish do you really need to know to move to Mexico? The answer is none. You don't need to know any Spanish to move to Mexico. If you move to Mexico without knowing any Spanish at all, you will not be the first foreigner to have done so, and you will definitely not be the last. I feel like I have come across so many foreigners here in Mexico who have told me, some of them with pride, that they've lived in Mexico for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and they still don't speak any Spanish. It is definitely possible. There's lots of services, people that you can hire, translators, interpreters. There's people like Yvonne who will help you get your residency, there's English speaking realtors. It can be done. That being said, all of that being said, I really believe with my whole heart, to the very core of my being, that your long-term happiness in Mexico depends very, very much so on how much Spanish you know. Before this live stream, I was just kind of running through my notes with Taylor. I was, kind of telling him the things that I wanted to talk about in the live stream today. And we were just talking about, when you first moved to Mexico, the first few weeks, the first few months, maybe even the first few years, everything's, great, fun, adventure. But when you start to get into, the day-to-day life here, and everything, even the smallest tasks, even Taylor gave the example of ordering a pizza. When you can't even order a pizza on your own, that really starts to grind you down after a while. And I've seen a lot of people in my time here in Mexico leave after 6 months, after a year, after 2 years, when they just, were struggling with the language, and they just, was too much of a grind for them. It was really, really getting them down. So really, the more Spanish that you know, I think the better experience you are going to have here in Mexico. And the point of, today's live stream is to help to get you there, to help you feel at a place, where you can communicate, where you can integrate yourself, into the community. Now, with this idea of learning Spanish, there are places in Mexico that you could move, these expat communities that you read about online, the 10 best places for expats to live, whatever. There are places that you could move in Mexico and probably never have to speak in Spanish, probably be able to do absolutely everything in English, only have English speaking friends, be able to shop in English, this and that. But I know that if you're subscribed to my channel, if you're watching this live stream, there's a chance that you're interested in moving to Querétaro. And that's certainly not the case in Querétaro. You should definitely plan on on putting in some time and effort into learning Spanish if you want to live in Querétaro. And, even if you're not thinking about Querétaro, if you are watching my channel, if you're one of my subscribers, part of this community, then I have a feeling that you are someone who doesn't necessarily want to move to just this entirely English speaking enclave. You want to integrate yourself into the community. You want to be able to have a cultural experience, and a big part of that is speaking Spanish. So I've got some notes here. Like I said, this is just such a big topic to cover. So thinking back on my own experience learning Spanish, which I'm definitely still doing, learning Spanish, learning any language is it's a spectrum. Fluency is a spectrum, which is why I always laugh when people will ask me, do you speak Spanish? Because really it's not a yes or no question. There's, a whole lot of in between, a whole lot of gray area there. And that is, your particular level of Spanish. So even knowing a little Spanish, because the purpose of, telling you that Spanish is going to enhance your experience here, all of that is not to intimidate you, is not to make you think, oh my gosh, well, if I have to learn Spanish in order to love my life in Mexico, then I don't even know if this is for me. That sounds like a lot. No. I'm not here to intimidate you. That's not the goal of this live stream. The goal of this live stream is to tell you that even, every little bit of Spanish that you know is going to make a difference when you move to Mexico. Again, Taylor and I were chatting before the live stream, and he was giving the examples of even just saying buenos dias, hasta luego, provecho, knowing what to say in different social situations makes you feel more comfortable and more at home. And that's a very little bit of Spanish. I'm sure there's a good chance that, a lot of you already know, like I said, buenos dias, hasta luego, provecho. Even knowing that little bit of Spanish will really, help to make you feel more at home when you're living here. So let's see what we've got over into the comments. Joe says that, okay, I found that Mexicans trying to speak English were inhibited for fear of making mistakes. Americans, on the other hand, generally have no fear of butchering the Spanish language. That is an interesting take, Joe, because I feel like I personally have, Miguel is saying it goes both ways. I feel like one of the things that held me back for the longest time in my own language learning journey was the fear of making mistakes. And I hope that if you can take one thing away from this live stream as we move into the 7 days of Spanish challenge, it's that don't be afraid to make mistakes. It is a natural part of learning a language. You made mistakes when you were a child learning English, learning your native language. Those mistakes just get harder to make, as an adult. I guess I'll start in now. Like I promised you, one of my most embarrassing Spanish story. Yeah, this, when I was, like many of you know, before I moved to Mexico, Taylor and I lived in Madrid, Spain for 2 years. And that's where I really started to study Spanish, living there, using it on a regular basis. I was taking a lot of Spanish classes, but still was really scared, like many of you are, to actually speak Spanish. I was so scared about making a mistake, and really when I was living in Spain, I was teaching English in the public schools there. And here's the story. This is like, I remember writing this in my journal when I got home from work that day. This was absolutely one of the most traumatizing days of my life in Spain. But I was working at school, and we were on break in the cafeteria in the teacher's lounge. And I was chatting with the principal of our school, who only spoke Spanish. And we were talking, how was your weekend, this and that, pretty standard stuff. And she started to go on and tell me about her weekends, and it was kind of a long thing, and I was trying to listen, thinking I was getting it. And when she finished telling me how her weekend was, I was honestly not sure what she had said. So I just kind of gave a little laugh and was like, oh, haha, KVN, that's nice, good weekends. And she just gave me a look like I was absolutely insane and just walked away. And it wasn't until another teacher came up to me later and told me that, oh my gosh, you guys, another teacher, I'm like getting hot thinking about this. Like it is just like flashback, like trauma. But another teacher came up to me and said that the principal of my school, my boss, had told me that over the weekend her mom died. Like, I mean, my jaw literally dropped. I could not believe that she told me that, and I laughed and said, "That's nice." So yes, that was my worst language fear realized. I think that I'm not really sure how you could make a worse, commit a worse error in Spanish. So I felt absolutely terrible. I apologized to her profusely. She was so gracious about it, knew that Spanish was my, second language, knew that I was learning, told me not to worry about it. But I still felt terrible. Like I said, when I went home that night, I was writing about it like in my journal, just trying to get it off of my chest. And honestly, when I made that mistake, it was actually kind of freeing. I was like, "Okay, here you go, Alex. You made the absolutely worst mistake. The thing you've been, the thing that you've been worrying about has finally been realized." And it was what I would consider a major turning point in my language learning journey. If you're just tuning in now, what you missed is that I laughed in the face of someone who told me that their mother died because I didn't understand Spanish. It was a major turning point in my language learning journey because, like I said, my worst fear, it happened and I'd survived it. Um, so if you are somebody who is worried about speaking Spanish, who is worried about making mistakes, like don't be. Here in Mexico, the people, everyone that I've come across here has been so gracious and so helpful and so they want to understand you. They're making an effort on their part to understand, whatever your level of Spanish is. So really, Mexico is a great, great place to learn Spanish. And even when you do make mistakes, people are very, very understanding. And trust me, I highly doubt. I mean, if you have made a mistake worse than that one in Spanish and are willing to admit it, please share it in the chat. Like I said, oh my goodness, that was quite the mistake. So yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that donation. I appreciate it, for me bearing my soul here. Yes. Let's see. Oh, yep. Quality. There's learning Spanish in another country is a great way to learn. Let's see. Doot. Yes. Robin says, and our mistakes can be where we learn the best. And that is very true. Like I said, it was a wake up call. It was a turning point for me in my language learning journey. So I want to jump in now to some affordable resources for learning Spanish. I have been DIYing my Spanish learning for pretty much the whole time. I've never taken, let's see, and when I was living in Madrid as an au pair, when I was first living there, I did take some language courses at an official language school. But since then, I've done the majority of my learning online. So really, no matter where you are in the world, you can learn Spanish. Let's see. Okay. Gringo Loco says, I called my first landlord in Costa Rica Buen Caballo. All right, good horse. 4 months. I love it. Thanks for sharing that. Let's see. Mitzi's been here for 5 weeks. Very true about people wanting to help you. People have been incredibly helpful. So glad to hear that, Mitzi. I'm really glad that's been your experience here. That's definitely been mine. Let's see. All right. So, affordable resources for learning Spanish. If you haven't yet, I highly recommend that you check out my latest video over on my YouTube channel, my tips for learning Spanish, how to learn Spanish fast and fluently. In the beginning of the video, I talk about the key to learning Spanish, wherever you are in the world. A lot of people like to say, oh, I'm going to wait till Mexico until I learn, but really, there's no reason that you can't immerse yourself in Spanish, from wherever you are sitting and watching this live stream right now. So in the video, at the top of the video, I talk about, wanting to create, what do I call it? Can someone, if someone remembers from the video, what's that called? Create your own immersion program. Create your own immersion program. And that I didn't know if I was calling it a self-immersion program, but create your own immersion program. And with the immersion program, you want to have a way to practice reading in Spanish, writing in Spanish, speaking in Spanish, and listening in Spanish. So that's part of my goal with the 7 days of Spanish challenge, the free challenge that I'm putting on, is to, help you find those different resources that will help you create your own immersion program. Now, one of the affordable resources that I absolutely love and that I talked about over in the video and gave a little tutorial of in the video is LingoPie. One of the most popular pieces of advice, tips, what have you, for learning a language is, watching shows and movies in the language that you're trying to learn. But to be honest, like I said in the video, it's not as, if you're a beginner Spanish speaker, it can be very hard, very difficult to just flip on Netflix and start, watching Casa de Papel or Lo que sea in Spanish and actually, sticking with it, understanding anything at all. You're just going to get frustrated, want to turn it off. So LingoPie is one resource that is really great for beginner Spanish speakers, especially. They've got a lot of programming with dual subtitles, a lot of cool stuff over there. So they've got a 7-day trial. If you want to check that out, there is a link in the description of this video if you are watching the replay. But LingoPie has a 7-day trial. Yep, Jim, I know Jim tested it out. He has been loving it, finding some good program over there. I'm definitely going to be recommending some programming for, what people are interested in the 7-day challenge. So if you're looking for some specific recommendations for what to watch or what I've personally liked watching over on LingoPie, then definitely make sure you're signed up for the challenge. So LingoPie is just one resource, for language classes, for conversation partners. I have used italki for years. I've written about it over on my blog, backpackingbrunette.com. I found language teachers there for one-on-one classes, but I have also used italki to find conversation partners. Taylor has been chatting with conversation partners on italki since we were in college. And actually, we have met up with some of his language partners over the years when we've been traveling. But it is a great place to find, language partners, people that are learning English and you're learning Spanish, and you do what's called an intercambio, an exchange. So 30 minutes in English, 30 minutes in Spanish. You can shorten that, lengthen that, according to you and your partner's wants and needs. But I really love italki for finding language partners. And honestly, the sooner that you can get into the habit of doing that, the sooner that you can, be finding people to practice speaking with, the better. I tell people, even if having a even if having a conversation with a language partner is too intimidating right now, exchange voice messages via WhatsApp or just text messages via WhatsApp to practice writing, to get those exchanges going until you kind of build up to a conversation. And then once you do start to have a conversation, with people, keep it short. Even if you just did an exchange for, 10 minutes in English, 10 minutes in Spanish, you're going to find people who are willing to do that. Let's see. Dan wants to know, what do you think of apps where you can speak with locals like HelloTalk or Tandem? I have not used HelloTalk or Tandem personally. I know I mentioned those in my latest YouTube video. Like I said, I've mostly used italki for finding conversation partners, for finding locals to chat with. But I got some comments on that last video saying that people would be interested in maybe seeing a future video where I compare the platforms, where I think I'm going to look into doing that. Dan, check out HelloTalk, check out Tandem. There's another one called Speakly, I think. I don't know if there's two different ones, or Speaky or Speakly. So there are a lot of different platforms for this. And I think I'm going to do a video coming up in the future about them. But if anybody, over in the chat has experience with HelloTalk or Tandem and wants to share, I would be interested in hearing about that. So let's see. Let's see, other resources that I really like. I also, just wanted to say that, learning Spanish, it doesn't have to be, practicing Spanish on a daily basis doesn't have to be super, super complicated. And it's just getting into, the habit of doing the little things for your personal immersion program. For example, in the video, I gave the example of writing out your grocery list in Spanish, writing even a sentence in a journal at the end of the day, something you're grateful for, the best thing that happened to you that day in Spanish, listening to podcasts, listening to audiobooks. That's another good one. You can adjust the speed of the book. I've actually been I've been reading and listening to Harry Potter. So I just bought Harry Potter and I don't remember what it's in English. Orden del Phoenix, the Order of the Phoenix. I am reading the book, but I'm also listening to the audiobook. So I'll read when I'm at home, and then when I'm out and about or doing chores around the house, I'll listen to it in Spanish. And it's a long one. I think it's like 30 something hours of audio, and the book's a long one too. So it's nice to have both of those. But yeah, listening to audiobooks, it's been so much fun. And if you're a beginner, you can always adjust the speed on those things that you're looking to. Oh, Daddy loves the Duolingo podcasts. I've heard really great things about the Duolingo podcasts. I also wanted to mention the Learn Spanish and Go podcast is one of the best podcasts that I've ever come across for intermediate Spanish speakers. Jim is, I think he's from Minnesota in the US, and Mai is from Colima, I think, here in Mexico. And they're a couple who met on italki. They met as language partners, matter of fact. But they have a great podcast, really interesting subjects about, being a digital nomad, moving to another country. I just listened to an awesome one about Mexican superstitions that was really, really interesting. So yeah, Learn Spanish and Go is another awesome podcast. But yeah, I love that we have people over here in the chat, sharing their favorite resources. If you join the Learn Spanish and Go podcast, the Learn Spanish and Go podcast, if you join the free 7 days of Spanish challenge, gotta move a little bit, my foot's falling asleep. If you join the free 7 days of Spanish challenge, which starts August 16th, every day you're going to get an email to your inbox with a different prompt, sharing a resource or giving you a little challenge, to practice reading, writing, speaking, or listening in Spanish. So I'm going to be sharing different resources with you all week. And if you have other resources that you love, be sure to share those over into the chat. Mitzi wants to know, any advice for working with a partner? We're at different levels and he's shy to speak around me, so I have to use my bad Spanish more often. Let's see, advice for working with a partner. My best piece of advice, I think it's really important to find people, Mitzi, who are around your level, or to find a tutor, maybe someone on italki that you can work with and have conversations with at your level. And the same thing for your partner. There's just something about when you're in a relationship with somebody, you do not want, you don't want somebody to see you struggle. So I think that my advice would be for both of you to have your own, kind of be on your own language learning journeys for a bit, at least to get started, at least until he starts to, he or she starts to let that shyness, kind of, kind of go. But I would tell your partner, making mistakes, looking silly, it is all part of the process. You can tell him my horror story from earlier about my most embarrassing story in Spanish, and that'll certainly make him feel better. Let's see. I wanted to share now some tips for staying consistent with your Spanish. If you've got any questions, specifically about learning Spanish, feel free to drop those in the chat. And I think when we kind of wrap up the end of the live stream, I will also do, if we have time, a little Q&A about general Mexico questions, if there's any of those out there. But like I said, if you've got questions about learning Spanish specifically, about resources, different things like that, feel free to drop them over into the chat. Now, I really want to talk now tips for staying consistent, but gotta get a sip of water. Still reeling from my horror story earlier. All right. So tips for staying consistent. All right. Peter asked, can you post a link to the recommended podcast? Ooh, yes. Especially one that had an episode of Mexican superstitions. Yes. That's the Learn Spanish and Go podcast. Learn Spanish and Go, but I will put a link in the description of this video for that specific podcast when we wrap up at the end, Peter. So definitely check back with that. Okie doke. Let's see. All right. Tips for staying consistent. Now, this is very, very important. And this is something that I really wish that I would have taken more seriously earlier on in my language learning journey. I'm very much an all or nothing type person. And I would just go through these, phases where I'd be just doing I would, break out the textbook and try and be studying for like 2 hours of Spanish. I'd try to take, language classes like 3 days in a row. And it was too much. I think, especially when you're first starting off in your language learning journey, it's true what they say, even 10 minutes a day is much better than 1 hour once a week. And it took me a very long time to realize that. So tips for staying consistent, start out small. Something that I talked about in the video last week when I was sharing some of my tips for learning Spanish was to, even just writing one sentence, one sentence turns into one paragraph, turns into a page, turns into, you can write a novel in Spanish. No, but you get what I'm saying. It all builds upon each other. It all builds. So tips for staying consistent. First, I just want to give out a shout out to the book Atomic Habits. If you have not read Atomic Habits by James Clear, it is a great book for developing any kind of habit, whether it's learning a language or, whatever you're trying to do. But I think that if you read that book through the lens of learning a language, you're going to come away with some really great strategies for staying consistent. And I wanted to share 2 of those strategies today from the Atomic Habits book. And I put a link in the description of this video for the Atomic Habits book if you want to check it out. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your donation. I appreciate it. MTY Trader, thank you. I really appreciate those donations in the super chat. And also, if you prefer, I also have a PayPal, paypal.me/backpackingbrunette. If you want to support future content creation, if you enjoy these live streams, if you're excited about the 7 days of Spanish challenge, feel free to donate. I really appreciate it. All right, so those tips for staying consistent. Now, the first one that I wanted to share is, I wrote it down over here. Okay, having a set time every single day for your Spanish habit of the day. So whether, especially when you're starting out, you think, okay, every single day I'm going to do one thing to practice reading, writing, speaking, or listening in Spanish. Every single day I'm going to do something. That's what we're trying to establish with the challenge. And every single day, I'm going to do it at 10 o'clock in the morning. You set a reminder on your phone, and when the alarm goes off, you drop whatever you're doing and you do that. So obviously, this is going to depend on your own schedule. You've got to find a time that works best for you. But for me, that's something that I've done with my own personal, Spanish studies, is set a specific time every single day. And when the alarm goes off, it's time. And that has been super, super helpful for me. So picking a time every single day, that's really great for establishing a habit, and just set a recurring alarm on your phone. Let's see. Oh, thanks, JT. I appreciate it. Let's see. Oh, thanks, Johnny. Thank you. 35 and retired here in Guadalajara. The first sentence in Spanish I learned to say is muchas chicas muy hermosas en Guadalajara. A lot of really pretty girls in Guadalajara. I have heard that some of the most beautiful women in Mexico are in Guadalajara. All right. So my second tip for staying consistent. So number one is to set a time every single day that you are going to practice Spanish. And my second tip is to have a calendar, a real actual physical calendar, and cross off the days that you accomplish your goal in Spanish. I know it sounded really silly to me at first. I was like, there's no way that's going to motivate me. That's just way too basic. But when I started marking off the days on the calendars, there's a big X to the day, each day that I did something, whether it was reading in Spanish, writing in Spanish, listening to a podcast in Spanish, watching a show in Spanish, speaking to somebody in Spanish, what have you. When I would do something in Spanish and cross that day, I loved seeing all the X's just gathering up in a row. There's a reason that people, try so hard to keep their streak on Duolingo. You just love seeing those build up. So that is my second tip for staying consistent. If you like those tips, then be sure to check out the Atomic Habits book that I mentioned, because really, like I said, if you read that through the lens of learning a language, then you are going to really pick up a lot of good stuff from there. Now, I also wanted to share some strategies for handling setbacks. What happens when you skip a day, and a day turns into a week, and a week turns into a month, and before you know it, like, you haven't spoken a word of Spanish, since you bought that, audio book, 3 months ago. It's really easy to let other things get in the way. And my number one, tip for handling setbacks is to remember your why, to have a really solid, Taylor, when you get the chance, will you turn the light on over here? It's getting dark. Is having a really solid handle on your why. Thank you. Oh, so much better. I was like starting to shrink in the darkness. But yes, having a really solid handle on your why. And if you are planning on moving to Mexico, that is a great why. And I hope you'll remember what I said at the top of this podcast, that every little bit of Spanish that you learn will help you when you move to Mexico. Every little bit, a little bit of Spanish will go a long way, and you'll be so glad with whatever effort you put in now when you're here living in Mexico. Let's see. Oh, Robin says that Duolingo will send you a reminder email to you. Yeah, and Duolingo can definitely like throw some shade, I feel like, and let you know if you haven't not been practicing your Spanish and kind of call you out. I feel like that's it's either a good or a bad thing, depending on how you respond to those kinds of things. That one moody guy wants to know, Alex, do you know any Spanish tutors or teachers in Querétaro? Now, I have personally the language classes that I've done here, I've done online via italki, via other platforms. I just love, I mean, I work online. I just absolutely love learning online, everything like that. But I have heard very, very good things about a language school here in Querétaro called Chantico, Chantico. It's here in the center. And I actually had a couple of my subscribers take language classes. It was an American couple take language classes at Chantico. Thanks, Taylor, for writing that in the chat. Take classes at Chantico earlier this summer, and they absolutely loved their experience there. I think it was a really good environment for learning, really professional tutors, and affordable classes as well. So that might be something to check out. I think they do different levels of immersion programs as well. Thank you for the donation. Thank you, Johnny, for another donation. Yes. I saw someone in the chat earlier say that having a Spanish-speaking girlfriend or a Spanish-speaking boyfriend is a great way to learn Spanish. And that's, I think, from my friends here, that seems to be very, very true. Yes, definitely check it out. Check them out. I've heard very good things about Chantico Language School. All right. So another great strategy for handling setbacks, in addition to knowing your why, having a strong handle on your why you're learning Spanish, is to also, and Mitzi, I think this kind of applies to maybe what you were talking about earlier, but having a group of people or at least one other person, at your level or, going through this with you. It's nice to have an accountability partner. It's, nice to have somebody just to kind of, bounce things off of, and even having, I think there's so much focus on having conversations with native speakers, but it can also be very beneficial to have conversations with other other language learners, other Spanish learners. So actually, I just started in a book club last week 2 weeks ago was our first our first reunion. Our first meeting was a couple weeks ago, but Laura from Eternal Expat, I know a lot of you know her and her YouTube channel. Laura invited me to a Spanish-speaking book club. We're reading a book in Spanish. It's led by a native Spanish tutor, but all the women in the book club, I think there's 8 of us, are native English speakers. And it's a group of advanced speakers, but I feel like I'm learning a lot from the other Spanish speakers in the group as well. So and it's also just comforting, to hear other, non-native Spanish speakers speaking Spanish, and it can help you a lot, and it can be a real motivator as well. So finding other, language learners to share in your journey is a great strategy for handling setbacks as well. All righty. So I wanted to again remind you about the free 7 Days of Spanish challenge that starts on August 16th. That's a free challenge that I'm putting on every day. You'll be getting a little prompt to your inbox, a mini challenge to help you establish your personal immersion program, reading, writing, speaking, and listening in Spanish. I'm going to be sharing more of my resources. I'm going to be sharing, specific, I guess, like resources from each resource. So for example, I will be sharing my favorite podcasts, episodes of my favorite podcasts, not just the podcast itself. I will be sharing, specific programming that I like on LingoPie. So if you're kind of struggling to find materials that you like in Spanish, this is definitely, the challenge for you. Be sure to sign up at the description. I think Taylor had it somewhere in the chat as well, the link, freebies.backpackingbrunette.com/Spanish challenge. He'll put that over in the chat again. Yes, Laura has a bunch of good videos as well. She's living in Lithuania now. So her How to Improve Your Spanish When You Don't Live in a Spanish Speaking Country is very important. Yes. Oops, I saw Boink had a comment up here. Okay, in some ways, Spanish is much easier. In other ways, Spanish can be quite difficult. I always think that this is interesting when people are talking about how easy or how difficult learning Spanish is, because again, it kind of goes back to what I said at the top of the live stream, where, when you ask somebody, do you know Spanish? It's just a question that I get a lot. It's not, I always laugh because it's not a yes or no question. It's not like, yes, I know Spanish, or no, I don't know Spanish. I mean, I guess someone who's like, hola, ¿cómo estás? Does that person know Spanish? Like, I don't know. They know a little Spanish, but so it's definitely, fluency is a very big, very long spectrum. So I think, I really want to push myself to be the best Spanish speaker that I can possibly be. And when you think about it that way, when you think about any language that way, then yeah, it becomes quite, that level of fluency can be quite difficult to achieve. I had someone ask earlier if it would be possible to become fluent in Spanish in 6 months. I saw that question earlier in the chat. And I think that if you were really pushing yourself and you were, had a personal immersion program going that was just off the charts, and you were working with a tutor and you were just going all out with your Spanish, you would be very, very pleased, I think, with how far you got in 6 months. I think you would have a very, very working level of Spanish. That being said, total fluency, I mean, what even is like total fluency? I feel like for me with Spanish, the more I know, the more I realize that I don't know. Before, when I was prepping for the live stream and kind of running through my notes with Taylor, I was talking about my level of Spanish when we left Madrid, and I was just telling him, oh my gosh, I was so scared to speak. My Spanish was terrible, like this and that. And Taylor was like, really? He's like, I don't remember it that way at all. Like, I thought your Spanish was good. So, like I said, the more you learn, the more you know, the more you realize that you don't know. And we are our own harshest critics. And that's been, very evident for me personally in my own journey learning Spanish. And being afraid to make mistakes. And I made some big ones, as I told you earlier in the live stream. But yeah, I think if you really pushed yourself for 6 months, you would be really, really pleased with your level of Spanish. And, the way I always think of it is that 6 months is going to, time's going to pass whether you put in the work or not. So you might as well put in the work and see where you are in 6 months, rather than looking back and thinking, oh, I wish I would have started, this task 6 months ago. So yes, I would say go for it. And I would say, send me an email in 6 months and tell me how that went. Because I think you would be very, very pleased if you were very dedicated how far you got in 6 months. Let's see. Oh, Johnny also wanted to say that another good way to learn is just to pick a very local neighborhood to live in Mexico and use it to order food or ordering coffee, and start small for fast learning. Yep. When you are immersing yourself, you are going to learn very, very quickly. Thanks for tuning in, Johnny. I appreciate it. Nice to have you here in the chat. Yeah, I love this point, JT. Don't think of it as work, just have fun with it. And that's why it is so, so important to find materials that bring you joy, stuff that you actually like. Because if the way that you think about Spanish right now just is filling you with dread, when you think of studying, you're like, oh, I gotta break out the textbook or like listen to these cassette tapes. I don't know. Or even if you hate the Duolingo owl with a passion, if whatever you're doing right now is not bringing you joy and is not lighting your fire, exciting you, you're not going to learn. So that's why I'm really hoping, it's my goal with this 7 days of Spanish challenge, is to, help you find materials that you're excited about and that will help, take your Spanish to the next level. Yeah, when you start to dream in Spanish, that's a huge marker of fluency for sure. That's a definitely good one, Joe. Alrighty, so I will go ahead and open it up now to kind of a general Q&A for these last 10 minutes. If you have any other questions about, moving to Mexico, living in Mexico, if you've got questions about Spanish, feel free to drop those in the chat. And I'm going to take a look over there. I also wanted to mention that if you, are thinking about moving to Mexico, or if you're just like, I just really wish that I could, talk to Alex about my plans or kind of like pick her brain about like Querétaro, whatever, then I recommend booking a one-to-one clarity call with me. I offer these clarity calls. You can book one for 30 minutes. You can book one for an hour. And we will set up a time to talk via Zoom, and we will answer all your questions about moving to Mexico, living in Mexico. We will talk it out and we will get it figured out. So the people that I've done clarity calls with, I've been doing a lot of clarity calls lately, and people are really walking away with it seems to me, from what they've said, the feedback is that they're walking away with clarity. So if you're looking for some clarity about your future move to Mexico, consider booking a one-on-one call with me. There is information for how to do so in the description of this video, and you can always send me an email, alex@backpackingbrunette.com, and we will set up a time to chat. So let's see what we've got over here. Doot, doot, doot. All righty. All right, JT does hate the Duolingo owl with a passion. Thank you, Jim. Jim did a clarity call with me a couple months ago. Jim's also a member of the Move to Mexico membership. That's a monthly membership that I have for people interested in moving to Mexico. I did a clarity call with Jim a few months ago. He had a list of questions for me about his plan to move to Mexico. And I did some research and came to the meeting sounds so serious. Came to the call prepared and got those answered for Jim. And it was really nice to just chat and connect in real time. Let's see. Okay, Robert asks, I have heard that there is a neighborhood tour of Querétaro. Do you know the name? Robert, are you interested in a neighborhood tour to potentially find a house or a place to live in Querétaro? Because I have mentioned in the past that Host Relocation, that's Ivan Pavan, offers a city tour, a neighborhood tour for people looking for a place to rent or to live in Querétaro. That's something that she organizes for you, best places to live based on, yes. Okay. So I would recommend reaching out to Yvonne at Host Relocation for information on that. And there's actually a link in the description of this video for Host Relocation and for getting in touch with Yvonne. And if you let her know that you are one of my subscribers, she will give you a little subscriber discount on your tour. So Yvonne's team has a lot of experience in Querétaro Realty, like more than I could ever hope or want to have. So she's definitely, the person to show you around for sure. Awesome. So, any other questions about, let's see. Oh, Catherine wants to know, how does the challenge work? All right, Catherine. So, the free 7 days of Spanish challenge is, first of all, free. It's something that I'm putting on just to help all of you kind of establish your own personal immersion programs. And when you sign up for the challenge, I think if Taylor could put the link in the chat again, maybe. When you sign up for the challenge, you will be added to a list, and every single day, once the challenge starts, it starts on August 16th. You will, every single day for 7 days, you will get an email to your inbox with a little mini challenge, something to encourage you to practice reading in Spanish, writing in Spanish, listening in Spanish, or speaking in Spanish. Oh, yep, Taylor just dropped the link there. So if you want to copy and paste that into your browser, you can sign up there. Talking so fast. But as far as the challenge portion of it, at the end of the challenge, at the end of the week, based on participation, I am going to pick, someone who was participating in the challenge, who's really going all in, and they will win a prize courtesy of me, to help them on their Spanish learning journey. So that is the challenge, Catherine. I hope that you will join us and help establish your daily Spanish routine. Oh, my screen just turned from day to night. It kind of freaked me out. All right. Shauna wants to know, do you know about the process of bringing pets from the USA to Mexico? Yes, Shauna, I do know about that. And actually, this is a question that I answered over in the membership for my Move to Mexico members. Got a lot of people with pets moving from the USA to Mexico. And actually, the process of moving to Mexico with a pet is pretty straightforward, pretty easy. You need to have a record of vaccination for your pet, like a clean bill of health for your pets, and that's all you need to come to Mexico. There is a limit on the number of pets you can bring. I think it's 2 dogs or 2 cats is the limit. So there is a limit per person. That's per person. But really, if you're bringing a dog or a cat from, it does get to be a little bit different if you've got birds or reptiles, that kind of stuff. I'm really only familiar with bringing dogs or cats to Mexico. But if you're bringing a dog or cat to Mexico, it's from the US. It's very, very straightforward. Your pet will not have to sit in quarantine or anything like that at all. Allison wants to know, can you put the info for the real estate tour you just mentioned in the chat? I missed it. Taylor, could you find the address is hostrelocation.com.mx is the address for the website. And then you can find Yvonne's contact information there on the website. You can message her through WhatsApp, or you can send her an email. She speaks fluent English, great English. So you can reach out to her if you're interested in the real estate tour, Allison. And if you let her know you're one of my subscribers, like I said, you can get a little discount on any services that you contract with her. Robert says, you have the best guide around. I send everyone to it. Thanks so much. I think Robert is talking about my Move to Mexico quick start guide, which is a free guide. It's 25 pages, answering frequently asked questions about moving to Mexico, sharing my apartment hunting tips, and also a renting in Spanish cheat sheet with literally just the phrases that you can, read and like copy right over to WhatsApp to send to a potential landlord when you're asking about properties. So I've got a link in the description of this video for the Move to Mexico Quick Start Guide if you haven't picked it up. And, I think I'm going to be updating the Move to Mexico Quick Start Guide soon. So make sure you grab this current copy of it. So you can make sure that you're on my mailing list, and then you will automatically receive the updated copy of the Move to Mexico Quick Start Guide when I update that. Again, that's totally free, just something that I put together to help all of you out. Because I know how big of a job moving to Mexico can be. So let's see. Peter says, do you think the Oaxaca experience is getting devalued because of the rising popularity and costs? Peter, I'm not sure. Maybe you're talking about Oaxaca City. I was in Oaxaca City the last time, I think like 4 years ago. I was there for Dia de Muertos, and I really liked the experience there. Even being there during Dia de Muertos, I did not feel like it was overly touristy at all. I was really surprised. I thought it was just going to be like, really touristy, and it was definitely not that. But I'm not sure how much, things change, destinations change really fast as they rise in popularity. I mean, one of my favorite places in Mexico, Puerto Escondido, where Taylor and I are actually going to be getting married. We were working, on wedding stuff today. So that's kind of like on my mind too. But I've seen Puerto Escondido on the, coast of Oaxaca grow a ton in the past few years. So as far as, the experience getting devalued, I don't know if I would go that far as I would say, that maybe the experience is changing there. And if you haven't been since, maybe if it's been a while since you've been, I would recommend going and I always just you just got to go and check out places and like see them for yourself and see what kind of feel you get from a place, because everyone's experience in a place is different. That probably sounds so silly coming from a YouTuber whose whole job is to tell you, what places in Mexico are like and this and that. But really, you've got to go and check places, out for yourself, because your experience in a city can totally depend, on the people you meet, on the little cantina that you find, a conversation that you have, with somebody can totally shape how you feel about a place. Thank you, James. James in here reminding everybody to hit that like button. I appreciate it. And yes, hit the like button. I appreciate it. I appreciate all your support. Thank you so, so much. And, if you like these live streams, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get a monthly Q&A in September before I go to Europe. I'm going to really, really try. But if you enjoy these live streams and want to donate in the live chat there with like a super sticker or something like that, you can do that right inside of YouTube. Or you can go over to, I've got a paypal.me/backpacking brunette if you want to donate, support future content creation. I really, really appreciate it. Got some other questions. Johnny was asking about the COVID situation here in Querétaro. Our cases increasing, and Johnny, much like most places in the world right now, cases are increasing here in Querétaro. We were in green for a while, according to Mexico's, crazy 4-light stoplight system. I don't know why, that's just so funny to me, but there's like 4 lights in their semáforo system for, designating COVID situations in different states. Querétaro was in green for a while. Now I believe it is in red, or excuse me, not red. Whoa. Was in green for a while. Now it is in yellow, I believe. It's either in yellow or orange. But cases are increasing here like they are in most parts of the world. In the center, people are wearing masks. You got to wear masks to enter, restaurants, stores. Really, the mask mandate never went away here like it did a lot of places in the US. So that's still a thing here. Just today, we went to a new little brewery downtown, and we had our temperatures taken at the door, that kind of stuff. Let's see. Joe, are you referring to level red for the crazy 4-light stoplight system for the COVID that I'm talking about? I know some states in Mexico are in red. Jim asks, where are you okay. Jim asks, where are you going to in Europe? I'm going to Germany. Taylor, I'm going to see some friends there. I'm going to travel with a friend there for a while. And then I'm going to be going, hopefully, situation over there allowing over to Scotland. I wanted to go there for a long time, and hopefully my mom will be meeting me over there. We'll be traveling together. So that's kind of the plan. Thanks for asking, Jim. Thank you for Thank you for the super sticker, Johnny. I appreciate it. Okay, Joe. So yes, thanks, Taylor. It's getting dark here fast. As far as the COVID, I would definitely recommend, just keeping up to date and also checking, the websites, the Mexican government websites as well as the US websites, because I know the State Department is very, very quick, to say different things about how dangerous different parts of Mexico are. So, it's good to get like two opinions or whatever. I will link in the description after this video. I will put a link for where I get my news about Querétaro and the updates to the COVID situation here for anyone who's interested in traveling to Querétaro. Yeah, it looks like, if you're asking about Quintana Roo over there in the Yucatan, yeah, because there's so much tourism over there, I think like cases have been, spiking at an even quicker rate. I don't know much about the travel situation over there. But I did see, that travel is limited back to the UK now. So, yeah, oof. I wish I had a better answer for you, Joe. I'm sorry about that. Puppy Love, have you visited the area close to the Guatemalan border? I have, I think, yeah, Boink is wondering if you're asked about Chiapas. If you're asked about Chiapas, I have not been to Chiapas yet, and that's majorly on my want to visit list. So hopefully, if not later this year, then I've already got a lot of travel plans, and definitely next year. Thank you so much, Catherine, for the super sticker. I appreciate it. And thank you, Jean. I really, really appreciate it. Seriously, every little bit helps. I've been doing this YouTube thing full time now since March. And yeah, it's going really well. And I'm definitely loving it. And really, your support just means the absolute world to me. This community that we have, honestly, the people that tune into these live streams, you guys are my faves. I really just love connecting with you during these live streams, and I really hope I will be able to do another live stream before I go to Europe, another Q&A. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Someone was saying in the chat, oh, yeah. Jim says, if you get a chance while on Germany, you should check out Neuenstein Castle. It's very beautiful. Think I'm going to go. I really wanted to go last time I was in Munich, but did not buy my tickets in advance because I don't know, because I don't know what I was thinking, but you've like got to buy your tickets in advance for that. So definitely going to do that in advance this time. At the very least, I think my friend and I are going to go hike around the castle, but it sounds like you recommend going inside the castle. So I will have to talk to her about that. I'm going to be traveling with one of my friends from college. So I'm super excited about that. Let's see. Oh, Robert over here, Joe. If you're still in here, Robert shared that Quintana Roo is not great. They are requiring testing and vaccines in some of the resorts. So good to know. Thanks, Robert, for sharing that. Sandy, thank you for the super sticker. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. All right, everybody. Yes, I'm so excited to do some hiking while I'm in Europe. Super, super excited about that. All right, well, wait a second to see if anyone else has any questions. If I missed your question over there, feel free to resend it. As far as these next couple weeks in Querétaro, because like I said, I'm going to be headed to Europe, hopefully. I mean, barring any major changes in the travel situation, heading to Europe in September. And yes, I will. I'm going I was going to say, let's see, I'm going to Munich. Oh, would love to make it to Cologne, but I am planning on going to Dresden, Nuremberg, Munich, and Berlin are my plans and Frankfurt for Germany. I've got some friends in Frankfurt. I did the Camino de Santiago a couple of years ago and met a couple of awesome Germans while I was walking it, and I'm going to be reconnecting with them in Germany, and hopefully they'll be coming to my wedding later in the year as well. Thanks for tuning in, Johnny. I really appreciate it. Okay, yes, that would be nice. He's watching the live chat, or he's watching the chat. He's reading all your comments in the chat, tuning in, and he says hi from over there. But I feel like what do you all think about getting Taylor on a live stream? Like if we did a live, the two of us together. I kind of want to bring some guests in for some lives in the future. I feel like it would be fun to have Taylor and you could ask him questions about his experiences in Mexico. You could ask him questions about what it's like to live and work alongside Backpacking Brunette, be in my videos. I also thought it might be fun to get my friends Louise in a live stream. Yeah. So if you, yeah, we all invited two to the wedding. I wish I could invite all 11,000 of my subscribers. No, just the 87 people in this live stream right now. That's who I would invite. Yeah, Jim thinks that it would be a good idea. Sandy is down for it. Indy's down for it. Johnny's down for it. Catherine's down for it. Yeah, Taylor on a live. Taylor is what the people want. Steve G wants it. JT wants it. Taylor has left the chat. We're talking about if we should have Taylor in a live chat, if he should come and do a live chat with me in the future. Thanks for tuning in, Gringo Loco. Lots of info and characters too. Thank you. Have a good night. Oh, yes. Hofbrauhaus in Munich. Yes, I've been there. I was hungover when I went there last time. They're a very crazy night in Munich. So I feel like I need to go back and not be hungover to fully enjoy it. Live stream the wedding. Oh my gosh, I love it. That'd be hilarious. Oh, yes. Louise too would love. Yes. Dude, people want it, Taylor. People want it. People want Taylor in a live stream. Okay, we're going to make this happen. We're going to make this happen for sure. We're going to have a live stream, Taylor. So you all need to start thinking about questions for Taylor. We're going to put him in the hot seat and just ask him a bunch of questions. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to this live stream. It is always such a pleasure coming in here, hanging out, because it really does feel like we're hanging out. I really look forward to these live streams. I really, really do. So I hope that you enjoyed this in lieu of a new video last week. There will be a new video coming this week where I will be sharing another awesome resource for learning Spanish. And yes, I just want to say that I am so grateful for all of you. I am so, so grateful for this community and really there hasn't been like a day that's gone by since in 2021 where I have not just thought like, wow, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe that I have, this community of people who trust me. I feel so, so honored to be helping all of you, on your journeys, wherever you are, if you plan on, moving to Mexico, if, you're here in Mexico already, if you are, just wanting to take a trip here to check things out. I am so grateful to have you here. And I just can't say that enough. I'm grateful. And I will catch you all at the next live stream. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And again, if you want to donate over on PayPal, paypal.me/backpackingbrunette. If you want to donate here in live chat, I really, really appreciate it. But again, just so grateful for all of you and for this community. And yeah, I hope that you have a good rest of your night. And thank you so much for tuning in. Take care, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye, everybody.